get started here in just a second. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Max Farrow, and I'm joined with my co-host and good friend, Mike Ficca. Mike, welcome back.
Thanks, Max. Good to be back.
Your summer you are an awesome DJ. I know you've been a DJ for a pretty long time, 30 years plus, right?
Right.
And Mike took the summer. He came to me. He's like, Max, I want to work everything. I appreciate you giving me partnership and doing all this, but I made an obligation to be a DJ all summer long. And is it okay if I do that? And I'm like, dude, hell yeah, And you worked the entire summer, almost 7 days a week, at your own peril. And you got through the week, so I'm glad to find he calls me up this morning. I'm back. I'm ready. All right, let's go. So I'm glad to have you back on the webinars with us, buddy.
Me as well. Thank you.
Now, if you don't know who Mike Ficca is one of those types of people that just gets in there and makes things happen. You give him a task to do, and he's just on it. 7 ways to Sunday, and always has shown that. And I really do appreciate that, Mike. I'm glad to see you're going to be back inside the rooms and dealing with people. Kindest soul you could probably ever meet, and I can't thank you enough for being here, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, listen. Tonight's webinar
and I got a new microphone.
And you got a new mic. You sound awesome.
You can hear me better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tonight's webinar is brought to you in part because, of course, we want to be consistent and give you good webinars and lots of training. We try not to oversell them, right? We try not to do like this whole buy today and you'll get 2 kind of mentality. But in today's society, we always have to be transferring information to try to give you, the consumer, the investor, the person who's trying to make a life in this industry, an opportunity not only to take part within a company that can be profitable, but a company that you can trust. One thing that we definitely know for sure is that it's very difficult in this industry to find people that you trust. 1, that are transparent. 2, that can tell you exactly what is not just going on in the network, but within their own system. Does it work? How well does it work? Is it easy to use? Those kind of things. Everything can't just be put into a giant bundle of information and say, hey, okay, just go watch a bunch of videos. You have to have an availability to talk to people and deal with people. Mike and I and Amy and Brian, all of us, Mike, Brian, and Amy are in the room as well, all believe that in order for you to be successful in this industry, you have to be transparent, you have to want for the success for your people, you have to have a good product, you have to have great customer service, and you have to have the ability to understand when you have to change. You have to change things. You have to build onto things. You have to build things. And we're going to talk about some of that tonight. And this is where the beginning of a new age is about to come to light. Some of you are going to hear about this for the very first time. Some of you are in the chat room. Some of you are watching this after the fact. And no matter where you're at in the world, when you hear this information tonight, I want you to take in consideration that it pains me to great lengths I don't want to be negative. I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but it pains me to talk about some of the things tonight that I have to talk about. But I'm always a person that has to you pull up the bootstraps, you tighten the belt and you head forward and you keep making stuff work and you do whatever you can do to make it work. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Before we get into talking about money and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. Earnings and risk disclaimer. I still don't like these things, Mike. I swear to God. But I guess we got to say them, right? All right. So listen, it's all about education and trade assistance only. But it does, one thing I do agree with, that all results may vary. I've seen so many different results from so many different people because there are so many different types of traders out there. So with each new trader, with each new concept that we have, there's a different result for everything. So just keep that in mind when you're getting on board. The topics we're going to talk about tonight, if you're brand new and you're in the chat room, you're brand new and you don't know anything about our company, last week we had things happen, and we'll talk about this. It's been happening now for almost 2 weeks now, but last week was the accumulation of a whole bunch of things, and we fought back and we finally got rescued from it. But we'll speak about that here. We'll also talk about the beginning of something. I know that sounds very vague, doesn't it? But it's basically of something. It's a process we're going to be adding on. and some of the education things we'll be talking about. I do want to talk about the industry standard that I kind of mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, and of course we'll provide the final word, something that I wanted to do. There you go. Something that I wanted to do in previous ones that we've done before, and I've sort of done the final word in a form. But tonight, I really want to give you a little bit of education of the mentality of the industry and a few things that I'll talk to you about at the end. Last week, there was on Thursday. Well, just the entire week was pretty bad, but there was in a previous webinar we talked about this. It was a breach of information, and the information wasn't the company's information as far as like the consumers, right? So nobody got credit card information. We'll just call it what it was. It was a hacking, right? It was a hacking of the system, but not in the presence that you may think, right? Nobody got your information. Nobody got emails. Nobody got data from you. What they hacked was our signal server. And our signal server had the data from our signals on it, of course. And this data was very, very important to us because it was the accumulation of what, two years, almost 2.5 years, Amy? Amy's in the chat room. About 2 years worth of information in there. They also got files on some of our indicators. And one of our other precious things referred to as one of our bots, right? Our trading bots. We have several of them that we don't put out that trade and gather information and strategies, but they got a lot of information from that. They also attacked a delivery server, and this server did something for us that was very important. Our system itself relies on two methods of delivering a signal. The first part is that it hunts out the signal itself, right? And it looks for the signal on the market. And as the market's going on, it pings whether or not this is a buy or this is a sell. When it does that, the one server sends that information to a database. And that database says, okay, this is the time, this is the date, here is the pair, here is the direction, here is the price of the open, and then you have a few other open processes that are waiting for the deal to close. Once the trade closes, another server will send information back to fill in the details. Well, here's the close, of that process. Here's the win ratio of how many times did it win. So here's a percentage of win, and then how many pips did it win by, right? This happens in two different platforms. Why? Because nobody in the industry, and I don't know if anybody in the chat room has ever been with a company or another signal company that provided you a signal and then gave you information how well that signal had done and the success rate, to a point to where they house the information in what we refer to as a data processing center that gives you so much information about the trading platform, about what you're trading, that you can go back hundreds of trades and see how well it is done. You can see where we got attacked here, where they started to attack one of our servers that provided the closing information. The opening information was still coming through, but it was the closing information that it was getting attacked. And that was the server that we really depended upon. It was almost like they knew exactly where to go to get it. But that's the thing about hackers. That's the thing about people within this industry that want to make you fail at that particular process. Now, if this was just an error in code, don't worry. I would tell you. I'd be like, all right, I screwed up. I put a comma in the wrong spot. I don't mind. I've done that before. I've made mistakes. I've apologized for those things for loss of services or at particular times. But this is not that. If it was, I'd be gladly to tell you that, because it makes me feel safer, right? Maybe most companies would lie to you and just say, oh, we made a mistake, and nobody would tell you you've gotten hacked. But I'm telling you this for a particular reason. One is because I need you to know that this industry is riddled with people that want you to fail and that want to hurt you. And it's very difficult to find those companies that you can trust to give you the straight information. So that's why you're getting what you're getting right now in this particular webinar. How did we combat this? And what were they doing after they broke into the server and got the information? Well, first off, we secured all of our servers. We have 7 of them. And those servers got secured very quickly, okay? But what was happening, once they couldn't get back in, they were trying to attack the main server with a DDoS, which is denial of service attack. And that denial of service was interrupting this process as well because it was putting too much load on the server. So it was giving us a pretty big run for our money. From Thursday night, really Friday morning, all the way until yesterday, they were attacking us. Now, what happened and how were we able to combat that? Well, we hired a company. I'm pretty good at keeping them back at bay, but this company is 10 times better than me, and they have a whole staff, and yay for them. I'm not going to tell you who the company is because I'm not going to give any secrets away, but I can tell you right now, I feel safer right now than I did before because we have secured the way that we do things, and I'm very, very lucky that we found this company. It does cost us an arm and a leg, but it's worth it to protect the signals and the data, and that's the most important thing. One thing the security company gave me was a risk assessment portfolio to tell me, 1, who they thought was doing it, 2, who they thought would benefit the most by it, how likely it would be for them to come back and do it again, and the safety of our data all the way through the network. Well, and ultimately enough, we secured our data for everything that we have done. Our websites are the most secure, our streams are the most secure now, and our signal services still have an opportunity to lose service. So I wanted to, as a company-wide process, to let you know we do have a backup, okay? But not the backup like you think, like, oh, I'm just going to restore the site. We have a backup system all the way behind our signals. So even if you join and you ask the question, well, if they got hacked, am I going to lose signals? You know, I could lose signals for a couple of days. I could lose money or what have you. If signals are down for more than 24 hours, we have another system behind this. And what that system is all the signals will be put out via email. Now, I know we won't have data, to fill in, what was winners, what was losers, or what have you. But at least you'll have some sort of process that you could still take signals. Now, that's on all signals. That's dailies, intradays, NAs, and SR maxes, because we have many different systems back there. I'll give you a rundown of what all the stuff, if you're new here, if you have never seen our system before, but I'll give you a rundown of all the signals shortly. We'll also have a system that posts the signals to a particular post on the site itself. And we have a delivery opportunity to deliver those signals through Twitter as well. This backup system has been sort of, we originally weren't going to tell a lot of people about this, but this has been our one thing that we've been trying to see if we should just eventually just go to altogether. Excuse me for 1 second. Signals are ringing in my ear at the moment from the website, so I apologize. But we didn't really want to go to this system because it's a little, I won't say archaic, but because it didn't have the data, we wanted to keep it cutting edge. But this is something that we might gravitate to just to have there for the just in case, right? So we might be looking at doing just that over the next couple of, or actually the next week. Let me jump back here for a second. So that's sort of the part of the beginning of something, right? And what else is going to happen in the beginning of something is that we're going to start providing a little bit more education, more geared towards Forex and trading and analysis, right? So most of you have traded. If you haven't started trading already, you've seen trading done, you want to get in this industry for a reason, then I think you'll know that in learning how to trade, you have to sort of first learn a little bit about yourself. And that's where I think a lot of traders forget that that's the first and foremost thing you should start with. Is this something you want to do? How well can I handle it? What is my education behind this and my experience with computers? Those things, right? So we're going to start sort of right in the very beginning with some personal development stuff, right? Sort of getting to figure out your aptitudes and availabilities and your timing and money and all that stuff. And we're going to start offering some of that information in there as an assessment, if you will, right? To assess the process of something for you to assess. Not for me to say, oh, I think you're good for trading or I think you're not good for trading, but I can also be made available, and so can Mike and a handful of other people, to give you a consult. And that consult will help you understand the ins and outs of the process, right? So we'll ask you a various amount of questions and what you want results to be and all that kind of good stuff. And by that process, we can tell you what is the best place to go to get that result, whether it be 5-minute trades, okay, to start learning, the 1 hours, the intradays, the dailies, the SR maxes. We think you should probably trade 4x instead of Nadex. Whatever the result may be from this education or this consult that you'll receive at that point, right? Mike, do you think that's a fair assessment of what we're planning to do? That
Yes,
the consults would give somebody a worth to get in and get out, or?
Yes, and again, we're, like Max said, we're always there for you guys. So if you need us, we're here, either in the room, or if you can call us on the phone and make a consult. I mean, it's just tremendous customer service that we give you.
Yeah, you'll definitely see inside that there's a tremendous amount, and most people already know. I receive 20, 30 phone calls a day to the main company, and I do several consults. This last week has been tough. I've had to cancel a few consults, and I do apologize if I've had to cancel one on you. But I'm getting back into the swing of things again. Mike's getting back into the swing as well. But the process here of the industry standard, okay, is that, and I think some of you have seen this, via your experiences in there, right? Is that they always keep you guessing. You ever see that? You get to a site and they tell you, okay, well, whether or not you've gotten signals or maybe a learning system, maybe you've gone to a network that provides just charts, right? They always got you trying to figure out, all right, what's this thing and how do I develop, and what are all these lines that are on the chart, and and then where to go next, right? That's always the biggest guess. It's like, what do I do next? What is my next objective? Okay. Now, even in our system, it's a little tough sometimes if you're brand new to an industry. Where do I go, right? So we developed this process inside. Now, I had it all there, but then I closed it because the signals were ringing in my ear every couple seconds here. That's the problem when I have it up there and I forget that it's there. Give me a second here. Back in the system, as soon as you log into our network, you come to the membership portal. Now, the membership portal has several different things. And if you read it like a book, you'll start on the left and you just go straight down. And what you end up using or not using is really up to you at that point. By the time you get over to signals, basically you've already been through the training, you've been through signals training, you know where everything is at. This is basically it. And then you know where all the components are. And then under the components, you know how to work those components because you've already been through signal training, and you should know how to use all of these things. But if not, you have things like the chat room. You have an inboard or internal chat for traders. You have an external chat for support. You have the contact us signals. You have phone numbers. You have all this stuff. So when you first get back here, learning how to go through the process is very simple because you just started in the membership area and you go through the training. The training will guide you through the process. But if you get lost along the way, you have many different options to be able to find your way again. And that's what's unheard of in this industry, isn't it, Mike? Because you've seen a lot of these people in this industry.
Oh, my God, yes. Yep.
So it's very difficult because they keep you guessing on not only what to do, but will it work? And that's another thing, is that you don't have a lot of reference on will it work? Well, within our system, we needed to make sure that we wanted to show you that it worked. That's probably one of the main reasons why I did the data processing center. Oh, my hat was right on it too. The data processing center was because I wanted you to see that it works. I wanted you to see that the signals gave a result that was favorable to the assets that you wanted to be in, and which ones which sessions they did best in, which hour was the best. What is the pip average for the process? Should I choke up or should I go to the next statement on Nadex? So these things are very important to us. I wanted you to have the tools like the news. I wanted you to have charts on board the site so you could use them right there and not have to worry about getting MetaTrader or any of those things. But in case you did need MetaTrader under the training, there was MetaTrader Mayhem series that shows you for absolutely free how to use MetaTrader and install install indicators and other things on there that track the charts on there so you could get in and out of signals. We did all this because we learned from the industry standard what not to do. Basically where we came up with all the processes for our system. Another thing that you'll find in this industry, and not so much from signal providers, but from brokers, is that they'll hide your money. They'll hide behind regulation. They'll hide behind things like, well, you put money in and you can't, I don't care what company it is, they all do it. They all have to follow what they call the money laundering schematic, right? The regulation. And that's fine. Here in the United States, we have to follow that rule, and I'm completely okay with that. But then there's other tricks that companies can do by hiding behind the wall of security and banks and, well, you didn't use this credit card when you did this, so you got to return it to that credit card or that bank process, or before we can give you this money, that money, or what have you. They love hiding your money. Keep it in their banks for as long as they possibly can until they make some more money on it by interest, whatever the reasoning is. But one thing that we have found are certain things that you can do to alleviate them having to hide your money. Knowing what the regulations are, we can tell you and show you while we're showing you how to use the brokers that we don't recommend anybody as far as we get paid, so we don't affiliatize ourselves with anybody, Mike, right?
No, not at all. You refuse to do it. And trust me.
yeah, we've had now to our own financial demise here too. I mean, we could have been, Amy and I know that, and maybe I think I even talked to you about this, Mike. You know, we got offered a lot of money from some companies to send customers over their way. And whether or not it be per person or per deposit or per how much money they make off of them or what have you, we said unequivocally no, because we didn't want to be that person that sent you to a place where if you lost money or you won money, it's one thing that our signals, if you lose or win money, we'll take that responsibility to a point. But there's also, you know, we win and lose money all the time. But the idea of sending you to a broker that steals money from you or holds your money, we didn't want to get in bed with that because there's too many of them that steal your money. We can control what we do with signals and take our responsibilities and our lumps. If our signals suck, we take that responsibility. But if a company's brokership sucks and they steal your money, how can we take responsibility for that? So also, we wanted you to know that as a company, that if we said, hey, we use this company and here's what we do, I want to be able to show you that. And if they screw us over, I also want to be able to show you that as well. I don't care what the legality is. I will show you if a company's screwing us over. Okay? And I have on a couple of companies that I've seen out there, shown you people out there information. But if they're doing good, I'll show you that information as well. And you know that it won't be because I've been paid to do so. So we don't hide your money. We don't mess around. We don't play any games. We don't work with any companies that do either. We don't do binaries or overseas binaries. We work with Nadex, Traders Way, and sometimes Forex.com, depending on my mood, you know, and how I deal with customer service over there. Okay. Another thing that the industry does is that they love the next big thing, right? Version 1,432,456.1. You've all been there before, right? You all had version 7. We even did this with our system in the very beginning of the Dex 2.0, which was really a joke, right? We did this because it was a joke, because Dex Trader is just the name of the website, and the signals themselves have been around. The Dex daily signals was our first set of signals. They've always been this way. This is what we refer to as our prime strategy. Our prime strategy is very, very simple, okay? It's a time immersion range trade process that when it gets past a certain range that we have found within the market, that's priority, of course, and if it hits a certain level of the market, we call it a buy, right? And we simply tell you it will be above this line, yay for us. And that buy has a 96 to 98% success rate. And even if we look a little bit, you might even see more, 97, 93, 190. Now the 100s over the last 100 trades that have been tracked, and we just started getting back into retracking the trades again. So don't let this fool you. You can look at the data processing center under the dailies to see what the lifetime success rate is, 95.7. The year is, for this year so far, 96. Last month, 98. Last week, 99. And of course, the last 43 trades at 100%. Sick, right? But remember, they're a range trade and they're done in a certain fashion. So this process has been around for 2 years. And a lifespan of signals is a lifetime. Now, we've also had some add-ons. We've added on the intraday signals in 2 forms: intraday regular, regular intraday, which go throughout the day no matter what news is doing, and NA intraday, which means news avoidance system. That's right. We wrote a program that attaches to our signal base that says there's news going, don't put a signal out. So that's why you'll see sometimes the intraday signals are a little bit different than the NA intraday. Right? There's probably more of the intraday than there are NA intraday, of course. Now, this is also a range trade system with a time immersion, but we added on a third parameter, which is prioritory. The last one is the SR maxes. And whether or not you think they do well or not, this is what we refer to as a scalping system. And a scalping system inside the network is very simple. When the market hits the indicator signal, okay, when the signal is fired and it says this is a buy system or a buy trade, okay, you'll put in a trade on Nadex or Forex or Nadex and put in for a buy at the suggested statement price. And once that happens, you're going to sit and watch the prioritory system of DEX MACD. You can also just look at a MACD as well, but it won't give you the same information the DEX MACD will give you. And what will happen is that you're waiting for a crossover in an opposite direction of the signal. So if it's a buy, you're looking for a crossover in a sell system, right? So when that happens, this is a little bit of divergence that's happening in the network. So what we want you to do is get out of the system, whether it's a win, a lose, or a draw at that point, okay? Whether you're plus in the profit or minus in the profit, doesn't matter. We say to get out to it. If that doesn't happen, then you stay in and you hope for the best for the success rate, which is usually 80 to 85% for just after, if there's no crossover, okay? Actually, it's more than that. I think it's closer to 90% with no crossover. But the system here is for you to be able to scalp out, as well as scalp when there's a win. Now, why is that so important? Well, because normally you're buying the trades on Nadex when you're risking usually about, I'd say, $70 to $75, right? That means that you're winning $30 to $25, right around in that area, right? So when you win that much. But that's if you let this go to expiry and you lose. But when you scalp out, you're usually scalping out between $25 and $35. See, that's a pretty big difference than this losing part up here. So that means when you win, you're almost winning a 1-to-1 ratio if you can scalp out good enough, if you're paying attention. Sometimes it does get away from you and shoot up a big crazy ass bar, but that'll happen sometimes. But in this system here, it's powerful because you now have an advantage that when you lose money, you're only losing 25 to 35, and when you're winning 25 to $30 in that area. So you have a great opportunity to win a lot of trades, but yet when you lose, you're balancing out, right? So you'll eventually balance out on the long term and do pretty well. I have a lot of traders, or some traders that are trading SRMAX that are giving me some information, and that's the level that we see them do it at, okay? The reason why I went down that line is because those particular 4 or 5 systems that we have are very powerful. We also developed the Forex system over at dexfx.com. We also have indicators at dexindicators.net. Now, these things are all add-ons, and you'll hear us add on new things to different ones, right? But one thing that we won't do, okay, because I believe a strategy is very powerful. You won't see us go, come and get the new Dex Trader 2.1 or 2.7 because we've added on the letter R to the end of it. It's now no longer Dex Trader, it's Trader. So we added an A at the end. So we're here about helping you trade and learn the industry and find new tools because we always find new stuff out there. There's always something new that can help us create more success, whether it be a money management system, a strategy process, a new way to find signals, a new way to trade signals, a new indicator that needs to be researched and developed and reorganized and structured for the way that we do things. And when we find those things out there, we want to be able to deliver them to you in a good process. Now, for the most part, if it's something that's in signals, if it's like another signal, it'll all be wrapped into the price, right? If it's something that it's another external product that develops its own signal but has a learning center and learning system, we might put that into a different series altogether, like our Dex Trader series, and then our Dex Trader series 5-minute MDM, right? And what this is a MACD system with a 5-minute signal delivery on a web base. That's right. I know it's a mouthful, but we delivered a 5-minute trading signal on a web-based chart right on the site, so you don't have to mess with downloading trades and all that kind of stuff, right? I have a lot of stuff happening on my computer at the moment. That's why. But you can kind of see right here. Did I shift that over, Mike? Yeah, I sure did. Okay. All right, so you can kind of see right here, there's the DEX MACD, there's a support and resistance right here on the charts. So you don't have to download charts or any of that other kind of stuff. And why this is so powerful is because, one, it's mobile. You get it right on your pad. Two, it's very light. Just open up a website and you're here. The signal, the strategy, everything is all right here. The rules, the training, the chat room, other people doing it, all that stuff is right here. And that's, oops, I'm all over the place. There we go. But that's how powerful the network is. So when we release something new, we try to keep it within the process of what we do. And we don't just try to make it some big flamboyant, well, this is a brand new way that we repackage the old stuff. That's what a lot of companies do out there. And I tell you, to be honest with you, it's very frustrating. Lastly, they don't give you a lot of contact either. And I call it direct eye contact, and I mean by eye, like me, the owner, how can you get and talk to anybody in this industry? And of course, I can understand if it's a multi-billion-dollar company, are you going to be able to talk to, Facebook owner or anybody within the networks of a multi-billion-dollar company? But when you work with people, when you deal with people that are here to make a living and make something for themselves, you should have enough respect to be able to talk to them at least, at one form or another. I'm not the CEO of a huge company. I'm the senior trader of a network that wants to help you become successful in trading. And I am a successful trader. I am a successful business person. I've been working from home now for 10 years. And if there is somebody that's better than me, absolutely, I can completely understand. But I'm good at what I do, and I can inform you of certain things, of what to watch out for, how to trade, how to get in the mentality and do those things. And Mike has become that type of individual as well. And so what needs to happen for you is that you, as an individual who wants to make this in the world, you need to find a company that will provide the things for you that you want in your life as a trader. You want to look for the things that we spoke to about in here. Does the company, are they transparent? Do they mess with any of my money? Of course, that's whether it's brokers or signal companies. Are they always offering the next big thing? Do they have a contact page? Are their signals transparent? Do they provide data? Do they provide lessons? Is the lesson plan easy? All that kind of stuff. We provide all of our training absolutely free because we want you to go through the training before you even get signals. So when you're ready, you hit the ground running. But once you're ready to start using signals, of course, you pay and you get on board and you pay for your tools, right? Before I move on, Mike, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, it was great, Max. Everything was right on point.
Mike and I will banter back and forth sometimes, but we're still working on our communication with this. And he only just came back today, so I didn't have a chance to fill him in on everything. All right, let's talk about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got you. No, that's it.
Let's talk about a few things that in this industry that, and I'm not gonna talk about anything special, Amy, I promise. But let's talk about something in this industry about data. data, as we all know, is just information, right, Mike? I mean, how many
Yes.
times you can trade and what you can do with it and all that stuff. Like, what what kind of data did you provide when you first started working with us?
You made me do the 5 minute. Actually, yeah, it was a 5 minute, and I did almost 500 or 600 trades within a week and a half, and maybe 2 weeks. And then
Right.
you asked me to do the 1 hours, the intraday trading, and I did that for you. The more you got, the better the signals got. You know what I mean? That the more data that comes in, that you can, crunch the numbers, the better our signals are. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Because data is important because there's several lines of data, right? Now I'm not going to go super crazy on you guys
Right.
and draw you to
Gotcha.
sleep, but there's several different lines of data, right? First, there's a thing called back testing. Have you all heard of this, right? So back testing is where, of course, and I'm sorry, my thing is not working so great. Back testing is a part where, of course, you look backwards, right, in time, but you add the strategy in so the system will trade. It'll go back a certain amount of months or years or what have you. It'll use the data from the network to trade on, and it'll make trades. And this one's profitable, this one's not. This one's profitable, but this one's not. And it'll give you a history of how well the system will do, right? And this is a computer doing this. This is a computer going in and doing the process and saying, all right, here's how I can trade this. Here are the rules to the variables, to the signals. Here's the signal process. When it does this, it's a buy. When it does this, it's a sell, right? And that system is all done through, using the computer system, the strategy testers through the various different programs that we have. The next thing that most companies should do with their data when they first start getting it is that success rate should only be used as a marker to, they shouldn't even be telling anybody about this yet. Why? Because most people can't trade at this level, right? Even our signals that you see in there, 97%, and 78% and 60s for 80 something percent on some of them, you shouldn't be using that information to say, okay, that's what I can do, because there's no way you as an individual are going to be sitting and be able to do that. Most companies, by the way, only put out, how many, have you ever had another signals company you worked with, Mike?
No.
So you never had a, has anybody in the room had a signals company? If you can answer in there, how many signals did you ever get in one day? I personally only would ever receive about 4, maybe 6, I think at the most, out of one company. So I don't think I've ever had more than 6 ever come to me in one company for a signal. We deliver anywhere between 100 and 140 a day. And the reason being is because there is a tremendous amount of data that we've already accumulated. But with those, we're accumulating data every single day. So there is another process from back testing called forward testing. Now, within forward testing, there's 2 versions. There is computer and consumer, right? Computer forward testing is done just like I said. We have a bot, the trader system, that's trading and showing win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, right? That system is this. And you'll see it here in a second. You're going to be blown away. It's just the signals. This is the forward system. Whether or not you believe it's a trader system, this system itself is actually a trader's platform that trades on because I don't want to trade it on a demo account, this would be crazy, but it trades on an account that, of course, we can't attach it to Nadex because whatever legality bullshit that is out there, but we trade this system, but these aren't trades. These aren't actual trades. These are algorithmic signals that are delivered, but the information is from Forex. Okay, so from the inter-exchange bank, that's where this information comes from. So every single one of our signals packs is something that the computer trades with at that point. It's not me putting these signals in. There's no way we could. The computer goes through the algorithm, goes through the strategy, creates an expert advisor, and delivers this information to our database, which then we show you here. And that's how that works. Another database tracks all that information, like I was telling you in the beginning, And of course, therefore, we have the result. This information is important to us because that computer forward testing will give us the data that we need to better help our consumers trade. And when I asked Mike, what kind of data did he provide? He was providing forward data from a consumer point of view. Like, here's the signals, trade them. And how well can you trade them? And Mike was doing a certain amount of trades. So the difference between each one, right, is where your product value will be for your consumer, for you folks that are in the chat room or you that are watching after the fact. This process that we've developed in doing this yields us, like Mike was saying, an opportunity to get better and better and better and better. For every month, for every week, for every year that we have signals, we get better and better. We're able to see where, like right now, Mike was only one person in that. I actually had 25 people providing information, which set the rules up for the 5-minute MDM system. We've had over 4,500 people through our network provide us information at one point or another. 4,500. Now imagine that, all those trades, all that information. What are we doing with that? We're honing our skills because we already can make bots. We already can make strategy systems that trade automatically. We can already do that. We've done it. That's what the forward testing consumer side is. That's what all that system is. The strategies are already there. They've been out there for 2 years. And I've been telling people what they are this entire time. I've never been shy about that. There are some, little tiny things in there that, we all know a blueberry pie had blueberries in it, right? And it has sugar and it has all pie crust in a pan and all that stuff. But some of the secret ingredients, what makes the stuff between the blueberries work, well, that's my reasons. I keep that to me. It should be. I have a reason for it. Now, since we can build bots, since we can do all that stuff, soon, very soon, those things will fill the void because the strategies are the base of everything. After we get all of our data compiled and everything shows what works, what doesn't, what's real, what's not, what can be traded by a consumer, what cannot, because I can provide you a signal. If you can't trade it to the level that the computer can do it to make the positive ROI, then what use is it? If you go in and trade and this thing has, this one missing and this one lost and this one lost, and so there's, whatever, a 90% success rate in here, but yet you get in and you only have an opportunity to trade in this block, so you have, a 50% success rate. What's the difference? Even if the consumer traded exactly like the computer all the way through it, they'd be exhausted. They couldn't keep up that kind of process. So if you only took out the chunk that you could do, you wouldn't believe that 90% was real. Is that about a fair assessment, Mike?
Yes, 100%.
You've seen this. You've seen this a few times from people you've traded with.
Yep.
Why does Carl have a 90% success rate, but yet every time I trade, I only have 50? Right? And so what happens is that Carl trades at this particular time period. He uses the USD JPY, and this person trades the Euro USD, and he trades at 11 p.m. at night. Right? So there's lessons to be learned from from your own consumerism, your own process that you're going to do, your own data collection. So what are we going to do about this? Well, as a trader goes, nobody wants to just be overwhelmed with numbers. So I want you to know that what we're going to provide soon is a strategy testing course, right? And so this strategy testing course is going to be pretty powerful because it's going to show you how to take some simplistic processes, okay, that we're going to give you. We're going to give you some tools. We're going to give you the tools to go in, all right, to use the strategy tester define the result, and then show you how that system can trade for you or trade with you, okay? Because there's a manual and there's an automated process. I don't believe in full automation, but I do believe in having the availability to trade pretty quickly, right? So the system will pop up and say, should I take this trade? You'll say yes. It'll follow all the rules, those kind of things. So these are things that are all coming. But all this stuff relies on only one thing. Mike, do you know what that is? That all this information has to be one thing before it can be profitable. Where'd it go? Damn it. I lost it. It was in here. All right. It was supposed to be right there. It's consistency.
It was.
The system has to be consistent.
There it is.
I did?
Yeah, right there. Keep going. One more.
One more?
2 more.
No,
all right. 2 rack maybe?
No.
Oh, you had it.
Yeah, no. Well, listen, I don't know if the system's messing with me. It's not showing me the screen.
Right there. Stop.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. So, well, it doesn't show that on my screen, which is really weird. Yeah. Okay. So consistency. Consistency is what you need to make this thing work. Because the problem is that most people, when they start getting some sort of result, whether it be positive or negative, what happens, Mike? What happens when you get a positive or negative result sometimes?
Either extreme happiness or extreme anger. One or the other.
Right. Right. You get real happy, and then what happens? You're like, oh, I can make this work. Let me put some more money on.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, you're like, damn, this thing sucks. I just lost $500. Let me put on 7 contracts and see if I can win 1,000, and I'll be up 500. Start chasing that dragon, right?
Greed monster.
Yeah. The greed monster comes out. So on Monday, we're making some major additions to the sites of Dex Indicators and Deck Trader. We're going to start going down the line of being able to develop a relationship with you even further than we do now. And this relationship is going to be 2 parts. 1, learning. And 2, self-evaluation from that point. Because you need to learn a little bit about the system before you can evaluate whether or not you can do it. So once you go through that first learning phase of it, you're going to be given an opportunity to get a consult and sit down with myself or Mike or one of the other reps and go through whether or not you feel like this is something that you could do or not. And then we'll help guide you into the proper area. We're not here to upsell you or throw you the most expensive package or any of that kind of stuff. In fact, I'll even steer most people away from the most expensive package into something referred to as the free side or the lowest possible. Because for me, it's about protecting our company. If we provide a service, pay us. But if it's not going to work for you, there's no way I'm going to want you in there, because I don't want that feeling of, hey, I don't think this person can do it, but let's just get their $97 a month anyway. That's not us. Amy and I, we think like that. That's all we think of. If something doesn't look like it's working, a while ago we had a thing called Maxis Signals. Do you remember this, Mike?
Yes, I do. I bought into that one.
And I pulled it. Right. I pulled it out of the network because it was something that it wasn't producing because I couldn't produce for it. And I wholeheartedly had to tell everybody that, hey, I'm sorry, but we're gonna remove this package. I'm gonna make it up to you by giving you all this extra stuff, right? We've always believed in that, covering, with over, what do they call that? Under promise, over deliver kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we offered this out there, and I knew that immediately that we needed to change it. But we've done that with a couple of small things. We had a couple other signals that were working for a little while, then started to freeze up and not really produce the results we wanted. People couldn't figure them out and what they were doing and those kind of things. It's my job to take the complicated and make it simple. It's Mike's and Amy's and Brian's and everybody else's to let the world know about it and help maintain it. And it's your job to help us prove it, become fundamentally wealthy with the process, and make it work. And that's where that relationship really becomes symbiotic between us all, because if we don't do our part, you can't do yours. And if you can't do yours, fundamentally, you're not going to pay us, and therefore we can't do our part. Does that make sense? So I think what's going to happen, well, I know what's going to be happening on Monday, is that these new areas of learning and developing are going to be more about our relationship with you as an individual and as a trader, and within ourselves too. We have to be able to make money. I normally, when everything is going great, can do very well in the market. But when things become sporadic with the company and all over the place, I can't then therefore trade. So how can I talk about trading on a full-time basis if I can't get in there and trade? I have to hone my own skills as well. I even thought about hiring somebody just to be the face of Dex Trader so I could just do nothing but trade. Mike Vica. So, so that's what it really came down to. Is that now we have to start developing our relationship more. With that said, if you're brand new and you haven't bought into the network yet, tonight's your lucky night. Full all-in trial for your first month, $97. The coupon's 97 trial, and you just plug that into dextrader.com, and you'll get all the stuff that I mentioned in the process. Oh, that's for the all-in package only. Okay, so that's for the all-in package only. But again, that's a pretty good deal. If you want to trade it down to something, maybe you want to go to just a MDM or you want to go to something else after that, we'll make sure that we bop you down to some other place, but just hit us before the end of the month, and we can help you out with that process. Now, this only goes to the 15th of this month. So I hate that rushed kind of process, but I know what Amy's trying to do because we have other codes and other systems that we want to release at that time, especially for the new stuff that's coming out. So we're not going to put it out there for very long, because we can't survive with a lot of people coming in for as much work as we do and the consults and all that stuff for less than $97 a month. So we're doing that because of all you great people that are here and for those that are watching after the fact up until the 15th of September. Mike, do you have anything you want to add before I hit final word?
No, you hit a lot, Max. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up that believe me, phenomenal. That's all I want to say.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad that you're going to be on board and in the rooms a lot more now. And can't, again, like I said before, I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thanks, Max. Thanks, everybody.
Stick around. Tonight's final word is all, and I've tried to allude to some of it during the process, is to know oneself and to be able to learn how to trade and build. And I have found that one of the most things that I have had to learn is how to, I guess, disassociate yourself with the value of money. The value of money is not about what type of car you have, what kind of, how much can you fan money around, or any of that process. I had one person just recently chastise me in a chat room because I didn't release to him my 1099 from a particular trading company. And why would I trade? Why would I take my 1099 and show anybody it? Because first off, my 1099 does not say whether or not our signals work. Our 1099 does not tell anybody if our network works. My 1099 tells you whether or not I work. Okay? Now, I know I work. I work hard at what I do. I work hard on the websites. I work hard on the building of the programs. I work hard on delivery. I work hard on customer service and dealing with those particular things. I work that hard. That's what my 1099 shows from any part of it, whether it be money from Our City Investments, which is the mother company of all the websites, or it's from Nadex, or it's from Traders Way, or Forex.com, or what have you. My signals don't have a 1099, so I can't show you that. The only person who can prove that they work is you. Because me, I can show you that they work by how I trade them. I can show you the accounts that I have on Nadex that do that, but that doesn't even tell you whether or not my signals work. That doesn't tell you whether or not our education is good. That only tells you whether or not I'm good at using Nadex. Again, me using the system. My 1099 shows you how well that I can put together programs and work them for myself. Can I get paid for them? But it doesn't tell you what trades that I made. It doesn't tell you, that I spent 14 hours in a day trading one day. It doesn't tell you that I spent 5 hours in trading and got just the same amount of money. It doesn't tell you that I made $5,000 in 1 hour on Forex. It doesn't show you anything other than that I made decent money. So how could I show you I make decent money in any of the stuff that we do? And the answer is I can't. I can only give you the sincerity that we are trying to help you reach your idea of success. I can only show you and give you that opportunity by talking to you real. That when you call the number on the site, when you set a consult and we speak, you'll understand what I'm referring to. I want you to be successful. I will speak real to you and I will tell you the truth and I will work hard with you. But one thing that I won't do, or I'll ever do, is try to pull the wool over your eyes to make it something, to be something more than it is when it's not. I'd rather tell you the truth and lose you as a customer than have you come on board, spend a bunch of money, you know it doesn't work, and I knew it wasn't going to work for you or I knew that it wouldn't happen, and you'd be all pissed off. There's nothing more in my world that I want more than to be successful, and I am successful. If you take away Dex, you take away all that other stuff, and you just have me as a trader, I am a successful trader. I've proven it time and time again. I'm a successful strategist. I've worked very hard, but that's not all I am. I have a game company. I am a musician. I'm a father. I work very hard at what I do. I was in construction for 20 years. I was in the Navy for 16 of those. So I'm pretty sure I have my success down. So what most of you have to understand is that your value, your association with money, is not about success. Your ability to follow rules, to stay neutral when it comes to money, look at it as just numbers, to become consistent, add your volume, and then get to your goal. That's the only thing that's going to prove whether or not the system works for you. Now, that's not only my system, that's any system. All right, with that said, I want to thank all of you that are watching this after the fact, and of course, getting through a long video like this of about an hour long and then joining me here. I hope to see you inside, and if you are a customer already, we have a lot of work to do. We're going to be reaching out to all of our customers and giving you some opportunities over the next several days and even into next week. If you're not a customer yet and you're in the chat room or you're anybody who's watching this after the fact, I want you to take some real hard consideration, join Dex Trader on the free side, go through the training, go through the process, validate that we're good for you, and jump on board. But let me tell you something, before you do that, take an opportunity, take a deep breath. Is this something you really want to do? Pick up the phone once you're ready to make all the decisions and you got everything else, call the number, write into the email, get on the chat, do whatever you do. But if you're going to do it, be prepared to work hard, because that's the only thing that's going to get you to that end result, which is your goal. All right. Everybody else in the chat room, you can stick around if you want to do questions and answers. I only have a few minutes, but everybody else, thank you so much. Mike, thanks a lot for being here again. Amy, thanks. Brian, Brett, everybody that's in that room, Tim Willoughby, everybody there. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great night.